Courtiers. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You will have undoubtedly listened, in parts passim, to some of the extracts from Valentine Lowe's recently published book, Courtiers, where it has been serialised in the newspaper, particularly with reference to what has been stated about Harry's wife and her behaviour, bringing forth greater allegations of the bullying and unpleasant behaviour, something, of course, that was known about and reported on elsewhere, but has now gained greater traction, first of all with what was reported by Tom Bower in his book Revenge, and now more recently by Valentine Lowe. Courtiers is apparently the gripping account of how the royal family really operates, from the man who has spent years studying them in his role as royal correspondent for the Times. Valentine Lowe asked the important questions. Who really runs the show? And as Charles III begins his reign, what will happen next? Throughout history, the British monarchy has relied on its courtiers, the trusted advisers in the king or queen's inner circle, to ensure its survival as a family, an ancient institution, and a pillar of the Constitution. Today, as ever, a vast team of people hidden from view steers the royal family's path between public duty and private life. Queen Elizabeth II, after a remarkable 70 years of service, saw the final seasons of her reign without her husband Philip to guide her. Meanwhile, newly ascended Charles seeks to define what his future as king and that of his court will be. The question of who is entrusted to guide the royals has never been more vital, and yet the task those courtiers face has never been more challenging. With a cloud hanging over Prince Andrew, as well as Harry and Harry's wife's departure from royal life, the complex relationship between modern courtiers and royal principals has been exposed to global scrutiny. As the new Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, equipped with a very 21st century approach to press and public relations, now hold the responsibility of making an ancient institution relevant for the decades to come. Courtiers reveals an ever-changing system of complex characters, shifting values and ideas over what the future of the institution should be. It is a story of how the monarchy really works at a pivotal moment in its history. Thus, that's the blurb to describe the book. But who is Valentine Lowe? Well, he's a British journalist, and he's the royal correspondent for the Times newspaper, which is what is known as a broadsheet, even though it actually isn't physically a broadsheet any longer. They moved many years ago to a tabloid size, although they don't operate as a tabloid. It's generally seen as a reliable news source, centre-right in terms of its politics, but with a stable of heavyweight journalists involved in it. Lowe worked on local newspapers in Northampton and Sheffield in the United Kingdom before joining the London Evening Standard in 1987. He started a column on the card game poker at the Evening Standard and wrote a column about his allotment. His writings about his allotment formed the basis for his 2008 book, One Man and His Dig, which was described as a guidebook for green-fingered urbanites. He covered the September 11 attacks in 2001 and the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, among other major news stories, while at the paper. Lowe joined the Times in 2008 from the Evening Standard, saying that perhaps I'm being impetuous, but after 21 years I thought it was time to move on. Lowe broke the story of claims of bullying of royal staff by Harry's wife in an article for the Times in May 2021. The story was published a few days before the broadcast of Oprah with Harry's wife and Harry, an interview by Oprah Winfrey with Harry's wife and her husband, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. In an interview with Amal Rajan for his documentary, The Lowe Book Courtiers, The Hidden Power, for the documentary The Princes and the Press, Lowe denied that the story of bullying allegations had been leaked to him, with the tacit approval of William, Prince of Wales, Harry's brother. His book Courtiers, of course, has just been published in October, earlier this month, with the excerpts from Courtiers being published in the Times in September 2022. This publication, of course, looks at those behind the scenes, those that interface with various members of the royal family. And of course, as we know, as a consequence of the story that it broke about the claims of bullying, there is going to be an emphasis upon the conduct and behaviours of Harry's wife. What I propose to do is utilise this publication and the material that's contained within it to bring it to you, but interpret it in forthcoming parts through the prism of narcissism and its impact upon other people. To pull out from the publication the relevant evidence that has been obtained by Lowe in his book with those that he's spoken to, those that he's interviewed, similar in the way that I did so with Tom Bauer's Revenge, and then explain to you precisely what's going on in terms of the behaviours where there is a narcissist involved, so that you understand precisely why that person is behaving in the way that they are, but also as well to explain where people get it wrong about who they're dealing with, where they respond in an incorrect way, where they make an assumption about an individual who's a narcissist, which is one of the common or garden misconceptions about narcissists which regularly occur, and that my work is steadily setting straight. I'll also detail for you the impact that it has upon the victims of narcissists so you can understand more about the dynamic. I intend to use contents of the book as source material, clear evidence of what has gone on. You, of course, as always, are invited to make your own mind up as to the veracity of that material, but what I shall do is utilise what will be undoubtedly an interesting and compelling publication to interpret it for you, to shine a light upon the behaviours, so that you're able to understand more about why people behave as they do. Of course, remember, it isn't just about Harry's wife. King Charles and his interactions and his behaviours will undoubtedly come under some form of scrutiny. Quite possibly, it may touch upon Prince Philip, also the Queen. And therefore we can see a range of interactions that occur between narcissists, normals, and empathic individuals that are situated within the royal family, as all three classifications, along with narcissistic individuals who are not narcissists, are represented within the royal family. And therefore, using this information, which is from behind the scenes, provides us with a very good opportunity to demonstrate to you how various classifications of person behave, why identified individuals do as they do, and of course, to extend more generally your understanding of narcissism, narcissists, and the narcissistic dynamic. It's going to prove to be very interesting source material. And what I'm going to do is have various video parts that will take certain aspects of the book, summarising parts of it, providing you with key pieces of evidence, and reading that to you. It's not going to be a wholesale reading of all of the entirety of the book, because having a little look ahead at it, there are large sections of it which aren't really relevant to the question of narcissism, because they talk about characters that in the past and the general institution and so forth, which is something that I can summarise for you and basically move through to get to the juicier items, if you will, that appertain to the relevant narcissists and, of course, to help us understand more about Harry's wife's behaviour. Accordingly, keep an eye out for my series about Courtiers and its interpretation, utilising it as a masterclass to understand the behaviours of human beings and, of course, particularly those that are narcissists. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.